Hey everybody, Jameson here with another holiday project. So these are wooden cutouts and they're really pretty thick actually. Let's check these out here. I'm just curious now. 1/4 inch thick. So these were at the craft store, Hobby Lobby to be precise, and they are almost 12 inches across, so this is quite large. There were several designs. They were $5 each, and then I got it for like 40 or 50% off yet. They had these exact patterns, this one and this really cool nativity one, a couple years ago, but they were small. They were, 6x6 or something, maybe not even that big, 4x4. And then this year I spotted that they had these massive ones. Maybe they've had them before and I'm just finding them for the first time. But I think these are super cool. I thought they were cool when they were little and I did some projects with them, and now they've got big ones. And so here I am again going to do another similar project, but on a larger scale. So today I'm going to use this one. I'll probably film another video with this one, so stand by for that one. I actually picked up 3. They had another one that was really cute, this Santa Claus one. So anyway, today though, we're going to do Joy to the World. So what I've done is I've cut a sheet of glass that was aventurine green, and it's going to be my base, and it is over at the kiln. I put it on my lift here. I did a dusting of clear powder, and it's over in the kiln on the shelf already, ready to go. That's going to be the backside of my platter here. So the top piece here is just a simple white Tecta cut, and these all had a little hanger in them. I just cut that out, put a little piece of tape over the hole so that I didn't get that hole in my design. And what I'm going to do is just very simply, I'm not applying anything to this. I'm just going to lay this on here, try to make sure it's roughly centered. And then I've got some aventurine green powder. So again, it's going to be aventurine green on the back, white, and then I'm going to do aventurine green powder, and I'm just going to kind of cover this whole design. In fact, I might go, thinking about it, I might go edge to edge with my powder here. And then very carefully, and because this is so thick, I'm not even going to put any handles on it. I'm just going to very carefully grab it in, see how I moved that there? That would be bad once I had the powder on. So I'm going to have to be very cautious and slow about carefully grabbing it, getting a really good grip, and then lifting straight up. And I'll leave my powder image on the glass. I will carry it over and set it in the kiln and take this up to a full fuse, and it'll come out looking, I think, pretty darn cool. So some people call this, I don't know, powder printing, stencil printing. I don't know what anybody calls it, I just call it cool. So here we go. I'm going to take my green powder, use a sifter, sift this whole thing, and then very carefully lift this up. The good news is, because I'm not putting anything down on the glass or anything, if I really screw it up, there are a couple of ways I can fix it. Let's assume that I am gonna screw it up, and I'll show you how to fix that here in just a little bit. Okay, I'll be darned, that worked pretty well. So you saw that I did a fairly thick application of that powder because I do want a good saturation of the color. I do think, that powder is going to pull in a little bit and get light in some spots. There are some areas where around the edge, the line is rather thick, so that's going to get really dark and look like kind of an interesting outline. So there will be some variation in the depth of color throughout. But generally speaking, I'm very pleased with this, and I'm actually not going to touch it. So I joked, let's assume that I messed this up. So let me show you how you could fix it a couple of different ways. One is there are these little, kind of silicone tipped, they look like a paintbrush, but it's not. It's a silicone tip on it, used for a variety of different kind of craft uses. But it's really nice to kind of help kind of clean up your line and pull some powder out. If I had gotten some powder in the area where it was supposed to be white, I could use these very carefully to kind of clean up those lines and make that crisp. That's one option. Another option is, you've seen me use this before if you're a fan of my videos, an earwax vacuum. So this sucker is a little bitty vacuum. You can hear it running there, and it has just enough suction power to pull up something like powder. So you could very carefully, run it around in that white glass where you want to pick up some of that powder, and that would be one way to do that as well. So now I'm going to very carefully take this over to the kiln, put it down. You also notice I used a sheet of paper under here so that I could reclaim a lot of that powder. I'm gonna lift that sheet of paper and get that back into my jar. This I'm gonna take over to the kiln very carefully. I'm gonna very carefully set it down onto the base piece of glass, and then we'll take this up to a full fuse and see what it looks like when it comes out. Okay, this piece was in with another load that I featured in a previous video where I had some kiln issues. I had a relay that went out midway through firing, so it came out and it was in a fairly decent shape. It actually fused better than I thought it would given the top temp, but I wanted to see if I could do better, so I stuck it back in and ran it on my normal full fuse schedule for this. And when I did that, it came out with some devitrification and such. So I'm not as happy with this as I could be, so I'm going to hit this with a little bit of a diamond pad just to kind of take some of that off a little bit. I'm going to sprinkle it with some clear powder, and I'm going to take it back in for firing to try to get this to a level that I'm a little more pleased with. Okay, here they are back out of the kiln. So this one I did what I said I was going to do. I hit it with a light sanding and then did a dusting of clear powder. It's still not perfect, but it's better. I'm pleased with it, more so than I was on the last round. And then you saw in the last video I wanted to go ahead and make another one of these since I was going in for a full fuse anyway. Threw this one in, different design. You know, it's a little sloppy in a couple of areas. That powder is just, it can be hard to control. There may be some different techniques that I can try over time to learn better, but still, you know, overall I'm not unhappy with this. This one was just a sheet of Tecta on the bottom base and then a sheet of white Tecta on the top, and dusted it with aventurine blue powder. And so there's a little bit of sparkle where it's a little deeper in some areas, but generally speaking, I just think this is such a pretty color anyway. Clearly you saw that I tap to do this. One way that I could have done it to get maybe a little bit more even coverage, and so I might consider this in the future, is to put a screen over the top, like a silk screen or something, and then using a flat edge to sift through. I think you'd get more even coverage of the powder, but I actually don't mind the look of this, and so I'm pretty pleased with this. So now I'm just gonna put these on a standard 12 by 12 slumper from Bullseye and slump them in the patterns, and I'll show you some photos of the finished product. Okay, and here you go. I love the way the blue looks. I really appreciate this color. I think this piece turned out pretty nice. It's a little rustic in some areas, but I still think it's decent. And as a reminder, it's just a plain white background. Here's the other one that I did, this Joy to the World. I love this. I love the green color. I just think the pattern is really cool. It's just a nice design. I've used that aventurine green on the back, so you've got that kind of striking back to it. But overall, I think this is great. I think these are nice, inexpensive ways to knock out some holiday projects, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Have a good one. Bye-bye.